Ladies and gentlemen, we have confirmation from Tucker Carlson himself that he has interviewed Russian President Vladimir Putin. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Unwoke Thoughts. Today, we are confirming something that we have been speculating about for the past couple weeks. Tucker Carlson in Moscow, Russia. Is he interviewing Vladimir Putin? Is he interviewing Edward Snowden? We just found out just a few minutes ago. As you can see here, guys, this is a tweet from 5 minutes ago from Tucker Carlson. And it says why I'm interviewing Vladimir Putin. And guys, I will play this for you. It is a little bit over 4 minutes long, but it's very interesting. And listen carefully.
We're in Moscow tonight. We're here to interview the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. We'll be doing that soon. There are risks to conducting an interview like this, obviously. So we've thought about it carefully over many months. Here's why we're doing it. First, because it's our job. We're in journalism. Our duty is to inform people. 2 years into a war that's reshaping the entire world, most Americans are not informed. They have no real idea what's happening in this region, here in Russia or 600 miles away in Ukraine. But they should know. They're paying for much of it in ways they might not fully yet perceive. The war in Ukraine is a human disaster. It's left hundreds of thousands of people dead, an entire generation of young Ukrainians, and it's depopulated the largest country in Europe. But the long-term effects are even more profound. This war has utterly reshaped the global military and trade alliances, and the sanctions that followed have as well. And in total, they have upended the world economy. The post-World War II economic order, the system that guaranteed prosperity in the West for more than 80 years, is coming apart very fast, and along with it, the dominance of the US dollar. These are not small changes. They are history-altering developments. They will define the lives of our grandchildren. Most of the world understands this perfectly well. They can see it. Ask anyone in Asia or the Middle East what the future looks like. And yet the populations of the English-speaking countries seem mostly unaware. They think that as nothing has really changed. And they think that because no one has told them the truth. Their media outlets are corrupt. They lie to their readers and viewers. And they do that mostly by omission. For example, since the day the war in Ukraine began, American media outlets have spoken to scores of people from Ukraine, and they have done scores of interviews with Ukrainian President Zelensky. We ourselves have put in a request for an interview with Zelensky, and we hope he accepts. But the interviews he's already done in the United States are not traditional interviews. They are fawning pep sessions specifically designed to amplify Zelensky's demand that the U.S. enter more deeply into a war in Eastern Europe and pay for it. That is not journalism. It is government propaganda. Propaganda of the ugliest kind, the kind that kills people. At the same time, our politicians and media outlets have been doing this, promoting a foreign leader like he's a new consumer brand. Not a single Western journalist has bothered to interview the president of the other country involved in this conflict, Vladimir Putin. Most Americans have no idea why Putin invaded Ukraine or what his goals are now. They've never heard his voice. That's wrong. Americans have a right to know all they can about a war they're implicated in, and we have the right to tell them about it because we are Americans too. Freedom of speech is our birthright. We were born with the right to say what we believe. That right cannot be taken away no matter who is in the White House. But they're trying anyway. Almost 3 years ago, the Biden administration illegally spied on our text messages and then leaked the contents to their servants in the news media. They did this in order to stop a Putin interview that we were planning. Last month, we're pretty certain they did exactly the same thing once again. But this time, we came to Moscow anyway. We are not here because we love Vladimir Putin. We are here because we love the United States, and we want it to remain prosperous and free. We paid for this trip ourselves. We took no money from any government or group, nor are we charging people to see the interview. It is not behind a paywall. Anyone can watch the entire thing, shot live to tape and unedited, on our website, tuckercarlson.com. Elon Musk, to his great credit, has promised not to suppress or block this interview once we post it on his platform, X, and we're grateful for that. Western governments, by contrast, will certainly do their best to censor this video on other less principled platforms because that's what they do. They are afraid of information they can't control. But you have no reason to be afraid of it. We are not encouraging you to agree with what Putin may say in this interview, but we are urging you to watch it. You should know as much as you can. And then, like a free citizen and not a slave, you can decide for yourself. Thanks.
Wow, guys, so this is big news. It has been confirmed Tucker Carlson has interviewed President Vladimir Putin of Russia. And what he's saying right here, guys, kind of gives me chills because he's talking about this dichotomy between how the news media in the West treats Ukraine or President Zelensky versus how they treat Russia or Vladimir Putin. And he's saying here, guys, you don't have to agree with one side or the other, but the simple fact that the news media refuses to allow you to hear someone talk, someone speak what their perspective is, should be a red flag in your brain. Like he said, President Zelensky has been interviewed multiple times, very carefully, in very careful interviews. He himself has not been able to interview President Zelensky. But what about Putin? No, nobody touches Putin. Nobody allows him to speak. And once again, I must emphasize, it doesn't matter if you agree with him or not. What you should simply look at, a red flag should go off in your brain when they do not allow you to hear his perspective. Like Tucker Carlson said, that is not news. That is not journalism. That is propaganda. They don't trust you yourselves to make a decision, the right decision for yourselves. They want to quaff a narrative in order to push you in a direction to think. They don't think that you yourselves can make your own decision. Either that, or maybe there's a decision that you might make depending on the information that is provided to you that they do not want you to make. It's one of those two things. It can't be any other things. But what he is saying here is very important, guys. You are an American. You have freedom of speech. There is freedom of press in this country. And when we start having these forces that are pushing you to think this way and that way, and then blocking you from learning information about some other things, that becomes a problem. And that is the system that Tucker Carlson is fighting against right here. And I love to see it, guys, because this is what journalism used to be. And this is what journalism should be. Journalism should be about talking to people that you don't agree with, getting the perspective of somebody, whether you like them or not. But this, unfortunately, is not the reality with the majority of the media in the United States. They have one goal and one goal only: to get you to think a certain way, not allow you to weigh information and make a decision for yourself. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the fact that Tucker Carlson has confirmed that he has interviewed President Vladimir Putin? What do you think about what he says about this dichotomy between how the Western media treats Ukraine and President Zelensky versus Russia and President Putin? What do you think about the fact that they will allow you to hear in very carefully crafted interviews what Zelensky has to say, but they don't want you to hear what Putin has to say? Let me know what you think about this down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.